Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. This is the Australian Day round of the A-League, and the clubs had a few changes for this round. Let's walk through all the games with analysis and predictions. Stick with me because at the end I'll also show you what I'm betting based on the analysis, okay? Now let's talk football. The big blue game between Melbourne Victory versus Sydney FC opens around on the actual Australia Day. Both teams are in a delicate situation as they are getting further from the top six. Both teams have had poor performances lately, and Victory is in the last on the ladder, and Sydney is currently the 10th. The data indicate that Sydney FC is slightly better than Melbourne Victory. In terms of average scoring, Sydney has 1.71 versus 1 for Victory. But in goals conceded, Sydney takes 1.57 and Melbourne also 1 per game. D'Agostino was sold to a Norwegian team, so now the major hope for goals and creative chances will be on Economides and Brillante. Jake Bremer also needs to show his offensive skills, especially because Ray Marchant is unavailable and he's in an important defensive midfield for Melbourne Victory. On Sydney's side, Joe Lolly and Robert Mack are the top goal scorers with 4 goals each. Ida Lefondre is also important to the offensive system and he scored 3 goals so far. Sydney FC don't have any new injured or suspended player for this match. So anything can happen in this game. However, I think that Melbourne Victory may struggle because they won't have their active supporters. Plus, there's a vacancy in the attack protagonism now for them. Also, Sydney's squad is being healthier and ready to play, and I believe that can make the 3 points out of this game. So I predict 1-0 Sydney FC. Newcastle Jets receives Brisbane Roar in the post-Australia Day. The Jets need to get the job done if they still want to pursue the top 6. They are 3 points away and in the 11th position right now. Brisbane is in the 8th position and with only 1 point away from the top 6 at this moment. So in terms of data, Newcastle Jets has scored 1.17 goals per game and conceded 1.33 on average. Newcastle Jets lost in the last encounter by 1-0. Beka Dartsmilia and Mikel Tadze are the most important players for the offensive system in the team this season so far. The goalkeeper Jake Duncan has also played well in a few games. Brisbane Roar has slightly different data, scoring 1 and conceding 0.8 goals per game. They won 2 out of the last 5 away games and lost only once. Carlo Amiento is still the top goal scorer with 3 goals, and Jay Oshie may be as important as he was in the game against the City. Anything can happen in this game as well. These are 2 similar teams without good momentum. However, the Jets don't know what is to win at home for a while, so I believe it may continue for this game. Brisbane Roar don't used to concede many goals per game, and the Jets is struggling to score. So 1-0 Brisbane is my prediction. But again, anything can happen in this game. Perth Glory has a difficult game ahead against Wellington Phoenix on Saturday. Glory is finally playing after a good unbeaten streak at home. They are now in the 7th position. Wellington Phoenix is also facing a good moment, winning 3 out of the last 5 games, and is now 4th in the ladder. The data puts Wellington Phoenix as a better team than Perth Glory. They score 2 per game and concede 1.63 goals on average, while Glory scores 0.53 goals on average and concedes 1.86 goals when playing away. Oscar Zawada is the Phoenix's top scorer with 6 goals so far, and Bozidar Kraev with 5 goals. Oliseo is in a great form lately, and maybe the key player to avoid concede goals. Adam Taggart debuted for Perth in the last round with 2 goals and is now the team's top scorer, which is a kind of insane after 13 rounds. David and Ryan Williams on the right side provide further offensive support to Glory, and both have 2 goals as well. This game is interesting because Perth Glory and Wellington Phoenix have a good momentum. However, Perth Glory has a very poor performance playing away, and even though they are fixing their offensive system, I believe they may not win this game. 2-1 Wellington Phoenix, or maybe a draw, but I see Phoenix as a better team for this game. Do you see this big QR code in the center? This is the free pass to my community on Telegram. Scan it now or go to predictortalk.com/join community to be part as well. There is a place for talk football 24/7, and we also cover bets from other leagues, so join in now. The next Saturday's games is Macarthur versus Worcester United. Macarthur is facing a tough moment in the A-League after the previous head coach suddenly leaves the club after calling the players the pub team. Do you really think this is accurate or not? Macarthur is now in the 6th position. Worcester United is climbing up the ladder after losing only one game in the last 4, but their away form is still poor, with 4 losses and 1 win in the last 5 games. Worcester United is now in the 9th position. Macarthur is slightly better than Worcester United according to the data. They score 1.33 goals and concede 1 per game, while Worcester United scores 1.4 and concedes 2.8 per game. However, Worcester United has a higher conversion rate than Macarthur boasts. It's 12 versus 10. The striker Bashana Arabuli is still the top goal scorer for the Bulls with 3 goals. The left wingers Toure and Arzani usually swap during the game, but both provide offensive support to the Bulls. Daniel Da Silva is injured and may not play this game. On the Worcester United side, Prijovic and Milanovic are still the top goal scorers with 3 goals each. James Troisi gives offensive support, and Alessandro Diamanti could add quality despite playing a few minutes per game. Ben Garucho is still injured and may not play this game, but Jacob Trett is likely to return from the suspension. This will be an interesting game because I want to see how the Bulls will respond to the new coach's instructions and how motivated will they be. I believe that Western United is still developing its defensive game, but they may concede 1 or 2 goals here. So my predictions is 2-1 for the Bulls, and the new head coach celebrates the win. Central Coast Mariners receives Western Sydney in what could be the coolest game of the weekend. It's the 2nd versus the 3rd in the ladder, and whoever wins could finish in the 2nd place. The Mariners are having a great form playing at home so far, with 4 wins and 1 loss in the last 5 games. While Western Sydney is facing a tough time with no wins, but 3 draws and 2 losses playing away. The data indicate that Central Coast Mariners is better than Western Sydney Wanderers. Central Coast scores 2.38 goals per game and concedes 1.38 goals on average, while Western Sydney scores 0.71 and concedes the same 0.71 goals per game. But Central Coast needs about half shots to score compared to Western Sydney. It's around 7 versus 13 on average. Jason Cummings is the central player for this team, and he's usually in the right spot to score. Central Coast also counts on Marco Tulio and Samuel Silveira for goals. These 3 players together sums 13 goals for Mariners, so watch them out. Western Sydney's defense system is the most important here as they stop Melbourne City to win, so Marcelo, Gabriel and Callum are the key players. Brendan, Oliver and Kripich will be in charge to score. This is a very interesting game because it's testing Western Sydney's defense once again, but this time with a faster transitional counterattacks from the opposition. I think that the Central Coast can overcome the Reds and create many chances, therefore win this game in front of their supporters. So 2-0 for Central Coast Mariners. Closing the round, Melbourne City faces Adelaide United. This game is more important to Adelaide than City as they need to keep scoring points to remain in the top 6. Melbourne City is the 1st and Adelaide is the 5th currently. The data indicate that Melbourne City is a better team than Adelaide United. The city scores 2.6 per game and concedes 0.6 on average, and Adelaide's scoring average is 1.29 and concedes 2.14 goals. Jamie Maclaren is the team and the league's top goal scorer, who needs only one chance to score. Lecky and Marco Tilio in the wings also give full support to him. Jordan Boss, who was unavailable last round, may return to the defense in this game. On the Adelaide side, Isaias, Popovic and Huanded may return to starting 11, giving a massive support to Adelaide's structure. Craig Goodwin is the top goal scorer and gives strong support to Ibuzuki and Halloran as well. Although statistically Melbourne City is the best team, Adelaide could actually make an upset in this game, with many important players available to play. I don't usually go against the data, but something is telling me that this could not be the best City's game. So 1-0 Adelaide United, or even a draw. Now I would like to show you all the bets I'm placing for the upcoming round. Be mindful that the odds may be different from what you see here. And feel free to copy them to your bet slip if you want to, but never use any money you can't afford to lose. Sports betting has a risk, as any other investment, and nobody actually becomes rich overnight. So always bet responsibly. Subscribe to the channel to receive the next game's analysis. The space is now open for you to share your opinions and let me know what your predictions are for the games in the comments, okay? I'll see you soon.